So we're going to jump into the first, which is Sherif. Come on up.
Thank you, brother. How's everybody doing this evening? Oh, very well. Woo! My name is Sherif, and I'm here to present to you today Project Powrush. And we're developing it at my game development corporation, Autonomicity Games. But before I get into that, let me tell you a quick story about myself. When I was in grade 1, I was obsessed with Pogs. All the kids in grade 1 loved them. It was almost like a form of gambling for children. You'd flip them with the slammers. The ones you flip, you win. And the slammers were really silly. You know, they had like #1 slammer and pink glitter and all this boring stuff. And I was like, that's not really cool. I like Power Rangers. I like Batman. I want something amazing. So I took my father's X-Acto knife. He's an architect. And I cut perfect circles the size of the slammers. And I put them on the slammers. And I went to school and I played with the children. And they were always asking me, how did you get that? Where'd you get that? And I'm like, I made it. And they're like, how much would you sell me one for? And I'm like, I don't know, how much are you willing to pay? And they were like, I'll give you $8. And I was like, I paid like $2.25 for a slammer, $4.49 for 6 stickers. This is definitely profitable. You got yourself a deal. So that was my first entrepreneurship experience back in grade 1. I made thousands of dollars, which unfortunately, the maid decided that if I have this money, I'm really bad and I'm in trouble, and I was very scared. So I didn't tell my parents, but years later, when I was 11 years old, I asked my parents, I was like, so what ended up happening with that money I made from selling slammers? And they were like, what money? And I was like, oh my God, I got robbed by the maid in grade 1. So I learned quickly, you know, you got to be careful when it comes to entrepreneurship. You got to be very careful. But anyway, moving on. So I've spent the past 12 years as a hobby developing a concept for a game called Powrush. And I never thought it would ever come to fruition. But here we are today, you know, presenting it. We've been working on it for a year and a half now. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of information about the gaming industry. So gaming has been growing for the past 50 years exponentially, which is rather dramatic. As you can see from this chart, it's the fastest sector. So as you can see, radio's dying and magazines are dying, but video games are taking off like a rocket. And the industry is well over $100 billion annually now, which is rather remarkable, and it's expected to continue to grow, as you can see from here. So this chart shows the most played games on PC. And you'll quickly notice that many of them are skill-based, so players want the challenge. Most of them are also free to play. People don't want to pay too much money on their games. And some of them actually launch an incomplete game, as Ark Survival Evolved did, and they made over $10 million in their first week with an incomplete game. It's not even complete yet. So it's a really easy market to get into and exit without having to take a loss. In 2015, PC was the most popular console for gaming. In 2017, that king spot, if you will, for console was overtaken by smartphones because they're more accessible. So we're making Powrush for both PC and mobile simultaneously. So what's the problem? The problem is most AAA caliber studios right now are just copying any good ideas. So there was a concept for a modification called Dota, which was made by players, not even a studio, and all the studios copied it. All the AAA studios copied it, which shows how intellectually bankrupt they are. And they have terrible revenue models, like pay to win. Nobody wants somebody with a big fat wallet to win. That's not fair. So what we're doing is we're making sure that we deliver an experience that the players want. It's all about the experience at the end of the day when gaming. And we've developed a system that allows 2 million players, we actually tested this, to connect from over 5 continents simultaneously, all see each other at the same time, and not have lag through a peer-to-peer network system we've developed. We've also made a system where you can actually be diplomatic. Many people don't get that experience, and we want to offer them to create their own factions, so they have the control rather than the game controlling that for them. And we've also made it so that they can learn how to lead a better lifestyle by playing the game. So we're using it as an educational tool subconsciously. They're not even aware that they're getting better at life. So one of the things we're implementing is cryptocurrencies. We've developed our own cryptocurrencies currently being developed right now. It's called CryptoSense. And it will be a way for the player to actually earn an income by playing the game, which is very revolutionary. And we've also devised a specific revenue model which will allow players to get advertisement without being annoyed. So instead of having a banner, you're going to see the content and use it because you've learned, hey, I have a virus in the game, I need a supplement. So you get the supplement, but the supplement is from a brand that we've made a deal with to have their company branded through our game, so now we have an increase in revenue. We've also made the game make sure that you can experience the utmost pleasure while playing the game. So you're never feeling like this is boring, you're not having a good time, and you're building a community, and you're having a great time spending time with your friends. So this is our team. Of course, I wield the hammer of Thor because I am worthy. And we have our core team there. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was a professional gamer for 2.5 years. I used to compete in Korea, the United States, and Canada in StarCraft 2, representing Team Canada. Woo! And we also have our art director and CTO. He works at Autodesk, which make the tools that we use for game development, so that's a beautiful marriage right there. He's got 18 years experience in the industry, so he's a veteran. We also have Rami, he's our chairman. He used to be my boss, now somehow I'm his boss, but he ran a software company which he sold 2 years ago for $15 million, and he's a very successful entrepreneur, so I'm very proud to have him as our chairman. And Preston is a wealth of information. He worked on the development of quantum computing, which is the cutting edge. He helped to develop many games under Ubisoft and Riot made League of Legends the most popular game for PC, if you saw on the chart earlier. So he's an absolute veteran, mega genius. The guy is just incredible. So we have a very blessed team, and we have 25 people currently working on the game right now. So we pitched the idea at Helix, where Jeffrey is involved, in December 2015, and that's where we began to gain traction. Up until then, it was just a pipe dream. And we went on to develop the team. We got artists. We made lots of art. We made the cool logo. And then we partnered up with a university in Puerto Rico. Now we have all the manpower we require for the programming. And we've also managed to develop some very cutting-edge technologies during all of this time. Currently, we're looking to raise funds so that we can continue to increase our manpower. However, we've gotten this far without spending a single penny. So currently, we have our target audience is 13 to 30 years of age, and companies who wish to promote their brands through our game. We also want to make sure that we give them, the players, an opportunity to earn an income through the game, because most people are losing their jobs to robots, as you may be aware. And we're making sure that we reach the players through everything, social media, streaming for games through Twitch and YouTube and so on. And we're creating partnerships with some of the streamers who have like 40,000 viewers a day to make sure they promote our game very quickly and rapidly through word of mouth and streaming. So we're going to be creating revenues from the game sales. We're going to have an optional subscription, so you're not gouged, force gouged, if you will, to play the game. And we're also going to have a pre-launch strategy, which I can get into more details about if you'd like, because it's a little more complicated after the presentation. So we're expecting in the first year of launch, very conservatively, $5 million of revenue, and in the second year, $10 million. However, this number could be 10 times that amount, realistically, when you compare with some other examples. So let's look at BitBucks. They were founded in 2011. 3 years later, they launched a game. In the first 48 hours, they recovered every penny they spent on development for 3 years. And then in their first year, they went on to make over $15 million. And this is a game that nobody even knows. They only have 390,000 players. That's a very small amount in the gaming industry. We look at a different example. No Man's Sky didn't even deliver on their promises and made $45 million in their first week just because they had lots of advertisement. So unfortunately, some people could do that, but at least they finally, after a year later, they delivered their promises. But still, you can publish an incomplete game and still get your money back, which is rather remarkable in this industry. So we're looking for $500,000 at 20% for a 2.5 post-money valuation. We can get $1 to $2 million from the government because they're supporting gaming and in the industry. And we're going to spend about $300,000 on development operations and $200,000 on marketing and sales. And we can have an exit by about 2020 if we sell to Microsoft as they did when they bought Minecraft, for example. So thank you so much for your time. I absolutely appreciate it. It's a luxury nobody can buy. You cannot buy time, but thank you guys. Have yourself a blessed evening, and I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Stay blessed.
No, stay there. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to jump for the advisors. So Jess, why don't you start us off? I think you can. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for a great presentation. That was really thorough. I love the fact that you started with a personal story. That's great. As an investor, engaging us, bringing it, peer to peer, that's a great start. And I love the fact that I wrote down my little notes as I was going along and then check, check, check. So congratulations on tackling valuation, ask, exit strategy. One of the things I think maybe there might be an opportunity for you to flesh out a little bit more is some of the go-to-market channels and some of the partners. Just for those of us who are not avid gamers, I think there's a wealth of information there that perhaps we could understand a little bit more fully when we're not in the industry. But it was a very thorough presentation and almost convinced me to like gaming. So kudos.
I'm glad to hear that.
Hi, Sherif. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, brother.
Okay. Let me speak up because I'm sitting in Giorgio Mamalides' seat, and he's the shy guy on council, right? So I really liked your presentation. And it's actually interesting because this morning I spent a couple of hours with an international company in the gaming industry. So I started my day with gaming, and I'm going to end my day with gaming. So I really like the model. I like the model that you're creating revenue and that stream not only from the gamers but also from the in-game branding and advertising, so to speak. So kudos to you. Strong team. The one thing that I would probably suggest is to, and maybe it's because it's a particular area of interest on my side, expand on the cryptocurrency aspect. I like that being integrated into the game. As you succeed as a gamer, you're actually providing a revenue source to them. And take a look at the current cryptocurrencies that are available, Bitcoin or whatever, as a possible Ethereum vehicle, as opposed to creating your own cryptocurrency, which could take. Good. So there you go. You have all the answers. So great stuff. Thank you.
Alfred, you're up.
I was impressed too, and I know nothing about gaming. But unlike Warren Buffett, who only invests in companies he understands, I only invest in companies where I think the founder understands what he's doing, and your opening story and a few other things got me. I had a couple of questions, which was, I thought your valuation was sound. I thought it was good that you were talking about exit options. I was curious to know whether the deal structure is conditional upon that public funding as part of the deal, or whether that's just something you're expecting to come, not conditional. Okay, and I want to echo, I know he's got to be older. The cryptocurrency play is a huge addition to this thing. Like, what's going on out there in the real world of cryptocurrency today, if you beat that punch, this is a huge score, and pay attention to it, get to understand it. There's a lot happening. Keeping ahead of it is hard, but it's important. Go.
I have ASIC miners at home worth tens of thousands of dollars to mine Bitcoin, so I've been in it for several years.
Okay, well, that's very comforting. Go hard.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. That was good. So we're going to open the floor up to some questions from the audience. So if you guys can look for Madison, she'll be the one that can chat with you on the mic. I can help as well.
Thanks, man. Good presentation. So I'm assuming you're actually building your crypto on the Ethereum blockchain. Is that correct?
No.
Oh, you're not. It's a completely new crypto.
Yeah.
So why haven't you decided to do an ICO? Is there a reason you look for angel capital to do that?
We're still developing it. We're making sure that it's quantity computing proof. As you may have noticed, we have somebody who worked on the development of quantum computing. So most current cryptocurrencies are actually susceptible to quantum computing taking over them because it's light years ahead of the current computing systems. So we're making sure that we have a system for our cryptocurrency that we're developing that will make it quantum computing proof, so it'll be absolutely sustainable for well over 10 years.
Got it, but wouldn't you want to use an ICO to raise the capital to be able to do the
Absolutely,
development
yeah.
for that? Okay.
Yeah, there's an opportunity for that, absolutely.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Anybody else?
Any other questions? Yep.
Hi, great presentation. A quick question for you. You didn't really talk about the competition. There's literally thousands and thousands of video games out there. How are you going to convince people to play your game as opposed to a different game or more time on Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram? Aren't you going to have to spend a huge amount of money on marketing to get your game out there and the attention of the people who are going to play your game?
Okay, so because we're doing something that is incredibly unique and we're offering players an opportunity to actually generate income by playing, we're going to draw a lot of attention from that. However, we've also already attained tens of thousands of people who are interested in playing our game already. They're signing up for beta. They're already registered to join our Discord servers and get involved with us because Preston Wingate, our project producer, has a company in the United States called GurNation, which works to gather gamers together in communities and have them work together. They've set up teams for many games such as Master X Master and League of Legends and Heroes of the Storm to compete professionally, and they actually were #1 in Master versus Master in the recent tournament that just went on recently. So their community is very, very, very large and very successful, and through that community, not only are we going to be able to have them play the game, but they're also going to be streaming our game on YouTube and on Twitch so that we can develop our community further for Powrush.
Awesome. I'm in. Anybody else?
Great presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
Over here. I heard something that was really interesting to me, was a peer-to-peer collaboration between players. The reason why I'm really interested in this is there's a video game that came out a few years ago called Honor, and it followed that same system. But there was a problem after that because when other people you're playing with have low Wi-Fi, you start to lag. So the flow and everything becomes a problem when someone has a low internet connection. How are you going to deal with that? Because Ubisoft is still having issues trying to, break that concept. So how are you implementing your platform to future-proof that problem?
Excellent question. So we've primarily designed the system so that if the peer-to-peer network around you is not sustaining the required latency to make sure you have no lag, then the server will kick in and make sure that you have enough ping so that you don't lag. So we have an algorithm to detect that if it does happen.
So you're basically buffering
That's right.
the whole time.
That's right.
Very cool. Okay, we got time for one last question.
Hi, Sean here. I've got a question about the actual game itself. So you were talking about some of the cool games that made $45 million and lots of money.
Yeah.
Think about Ark. In Ark, you get to ride a dinosaur. I mean, that's awesome. Everyone wants to ride a dinosaur.
Sure.
And in No Man's Sky, you get an infinite number of planets, and you can go name 1,000 planets after everybody you know, because it just generates planets on the fly. What's the game catch here that makes me want to ride a dinosaur and name a planet after my friend? I mean, where's that? What do you got there?
Okay, so you get to create your own faction, and you get to manage it. So instead of, let's say, World of Warcraft, you have the Horde and the Alliance, and they can't, communicate with each other. They have that language barrier and so on. In this game, you get to create your own alliance and your own horde. So now you're setting up your own, if you will, like tribe or clan or guild, and your own hierarchy, if you even have one. You could have like a flat hierarchy where everyone's a leader. You have complete freedom on how you structure this faction of yours, and you get to decide, do you want to be enemies with other factions or do you want to ally with them? And it's dynamic, so you can continue to change it. So you have a lot of freedom how you create your own story in the game. So instead of having the story kind of shoved upon you, instead you get to create your own story while having a world that's not just telling you, go create your own levels or something like they do with some games. They're like, here you go, like make your own world kind of thing. So we provided you with almost a sandbox experience, but with enough extra features so that you have enough freedom and still maintain that delicate balance where you also have the tools required so you don't have too much freedom, if you will.
Awesome. I think Sean's going to buy the game now. He's interested. And you know what? We should build a dinosaur in there anyway so that he can ride the dinosaur.
Hey, I led the top tribe in Ark Survival Evolved when it first launched, so I know what you're talking about. I rode a lot of dinosaurs in that game. It's awesome.
I love it. All right, guys, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good job.